And welcome back to the Soul Sister Podcast. I'm Randi.
And I'm Kayla.
And today we have got some announcements before we jump into it. Kayla, why don't you tell the exciting news?
All right. So, Randi and I are collaborating and we're doing a bit of changes. Jen has stepped away. She's got some amazing business ventures on the horizon. So she's super driven with that right now. And in honor of her, we didn't want to carry on with the same branding, the same images, because it was really something we created as
together.
As a threesome.
Threesome.
And we kind of decided to rebrand. So this is the last podcast as the Soul Sisters, and we are going to be moving into the Sassy Spiritual Bitches.
Sassy Spiritual Bitches.
Yes.
That's right. You know what's funny? I got to tell you this while I'm thinking of it. I almost texted you this morning because I was in the shower, and sometimes, things come to me in the shower, and I was like, the old song Men in Black?
Yes.
I was singing that, but I was like, the SSB!
Oh, fuck yeah.
Because I'm a nerd.
Fuck yes.
I was rocking out to it in my head, in my shower.
Okay, I'm pumped. SSB. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So yeah, be on the lookout. We're going to be obviously changing some of our branding. Probably going to have to launch a totally different Facebook page.
Yeah.
Which will be kind of inconvenient, but we're fresh out of the gates with the podcast. So if we're going to rebrand,
Absolutely.
We're going to rebrand right now.
Yeah.
And we're excited. We put a lot of thought into it.
We actually really did. And we're going to have a new Facebook page. So I know it's annoying for you guys, but you're going to have to refollow. Oh, sorry. And if you're not, why aren't you? And secondly, watch for the new Instagram handles, but you guys, you'll hear more about this when we're closer to actually launching it, but we are going to be starting a Patreon. Woo! So if you want to join that exclusive group, there's going to be several options, and all of that will fill you in, but there's going to be extra episodes, like bonus episodes on there, hangouts with us on Zoom maybe once a month. We still have to hash these things out, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of cool things coming
and
up.
channeled messages.
Randy
and I have really been diving into some of personally, I don't know about you, getting to know some of the things that I need to be doing as, in the role that I've taken on. And right now what's really important is what's upcoming, what's bringing forward. And Randi does it all the time in channels for the collective, but we're going to do some channeled messages for you. It's going to be awesome. We're really excited to build the cohort and build the group, because we're all about that.
And build our community together with you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, this is our last. It's kind of sad though. It's bittersweet.
Yeah, it is bittersweet.
But yeah. This will be our last Soul Sister podcast, but on to new and better things. We wish Jen all the luck in the world. She's got a lot of cool things going on.
Oh, yeah.
So what are we talking about today?
Fear.
And I can just hear a lot of my clients repeating back what I always tell them, what that means. What is fear? Say it with me, girls. False evidence appearing real. Woo!
Yep. Oh, fear.
Fear.
We could talk about this for 40 years, I swear.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for reals. So, there's all kinds of fear, right? There's the fear of heights. There's the fear of the dark. There's the fear of fish, if you're Randi.
You don't like fish?
I'm terrified of them.
Oh my God. That is bizarre.
I know. And my grade 12 teacher didn't believe it.
Did you drown in a past lifetime?
I think I did.
Gotta. You gotta. I don't understand where that fear.
Or they were nibbling my feet as I was dying or something. I don't know.
Gross.
But I'm terrified. And we had to dissect a fish for grade 12. Oh, and I was like, I can't do it. And my mom had to call and talk to my science teacher, and he thought I was crazy. And then he put me in another room while everyone was in, the actual fish. And you still have to do these questions. I'm like, okay. He didn't tell me there was a picture of the fish in the textbook, and I may have screamed, jumped up, flipped a desk, and the book went on the floor.
Oh my God. That is a real fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's you don't go fishing then. You don't go on the lake.
I go on boats, but I don't I used to go swimming we don't go fishing.
Right. Of course not.
But if we would go wakeboarding, fuck, I never did that. I didn't.
I was like, excuse me, take me, please.
Well, no, I did knee boarding. Attempted skiing, was horrible at it, but like tubing, ski bobbing. Do you guys remember the ski bob? Shouts out to that. But if I hit the water, then I freaked the fuck out. Like I just flailed because they were like, if you make enough movement, like they swim away.
Right.
So I knew if I flailed, I'd be fine.
Right.
So whenever I was in the water, I never stood still. I was in the lake all the time as a kid. We had a cabin that was lakefront. So I was in the water all the time, but I knew before you go in, you run. You know how you run? It's like Baywatch.
Yes.
But you make as much splashing as possible. Mm-hmm. I did that so that there was none around me. And if I saw them, I freaked and flipped my arm. Yeah, it's a thing.
I don't like things I can't see. So even to this day, I remember I went like cliff jumping in BC one year. And the water was so crystal clear. I could see the fish swimming. And I just couldn't do it. I knew they would have left as soon as I hit the water. But I don't like dark water. Shouts out to my Mintalkins. We love the water, but if we can't see what's happening, we're not interested.
I'm out.
Yeah.
For reals.
And if I start thinking about what's under there, I freak out too. But it's not fish per se. It's just the not seeing what's happening.
So the fear of the unknown.
Yeah. Especially in water.
I would love to dissect that with you and see where that actually comes from.
You know what? I'm sure we will one day. Like, fuck. God.
I fucked you enough.
Yeah.
Fucked you up enough this week. We'll just leave that for
Randy's my personal counselor, just so everyone knows. And
yeah.
We had our session and still recovering. So if you need therapy, Randy's your bitch.
Disclaimer, I'm not an actual therapist.
You'll get more out of your session with Randy than your therapist, let me tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
In 10 minutes, like it was literally 10 minutes in, I had no idea where it was going, and we were diving into like these inner childhood wounds, and that I was like, how did I not know? Like, you know, you're like, fuck, I've lived my whole 32 years of life up until this point, never realizing that. And in 10 minutes, Randy's like, there it is. What the fuck?
Boom.
10 minutes, you guys. So, sorry.
It's fun.
It is fun. You should try it.
It's
really
fun.
should.
We love digging up wounds.
And I cried. I wasn't expecting that. I knew it was happening eventually, but I was like, wow, 10 minutes in, eh?
Yeah.
10 minutes in.
It's my claim to fame.
You can make people cry in 10 minutes. I love it.
10 minutes or less. Ooh, it's like pizza. I should make you cry in 10 minutes or less.
But it's good, though. It's a nice release. You should do it.
Everyone
should do it. I'm trying to get my sister to do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I told her about it, and she's like, oh. And she has worse. I'd say she's stronger than me, but she has worse childhood issues than me. So it'll be interesting to dissect that.
That sounds like a challenge. Challenge
Alyssa,
accepted, Alyssa.
You've been called out.
Challenge accepted. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about.
We haven't even
today.
made it anywhere. We've already tangented way the fuck out of the way. But that's okay. That's what we do.
We're like, 10 minutes in, and it's like, haven't talked about a damn thing.
No.
Let us know if you actually like that, though, because...
Yeah, do you like our tidbits, or are you like, do you find it waste your time?
Or you just like, shut up and get to the point already?
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah. Because we can chat.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Well, at least internalize it. Does it mean we'll stop tangenting? Depends how present we are in the moment, but we'd like to know. What do you want from this? We're going to be rebranding. So this is the perfect time to let us know. Do you want information? Do you want stories? Do you like our tangents and seeing us as people? Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Let us know.
All of the above, none of the above. Bitch, stop podcasting altogether because you suck. Don't tell us that.
We won't do that anyway.
Because we're going to do it anyway.
Yeah,
Suckers. Just kidding.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Okay. Fear. I don't even know where to start with that. It's obviously something everybody has, and it crosses into every crevice of your life. Every corner, there's going to be something that you fear.
Absolutely.
And I think the goal of the podcast today is to give you little tools to recognize when you're giving into that fear-based mentality and how to just stop it in its tracks, because we're never going to manifest abundance or happiness or success or healing.
Or 5D.
If we ever give into that fear-based mentality, and it's we're human. You can't make it go away, but you can tune it out for a minute and make the decision with clarity. Yeah,
you can. Here's the thing. And you know what? We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm not gonna do that to you right off the hop. I'm gonna buy you dinner first. No, but here's the thing about fear. Well, we were talking about channeled messages. And if you haven't listened to last week's episode on channeled messages, I highly suggest that you do. But one of the things that my guides have really been driving hardcore into my head, I was like, what's the message for the collective? What's the message for the collective? And it's been get them out of fear, right? With everything going on in the world right now, we are fed nothing but fear. We are based in, it's a constructed fear-based modality or mentality or whatever you want to call it. It's up to you. And that's not being a conspiracy theorist. It's just being honest, right? I think back now, I can see a progression, and I'm not that old. I don't think.
No,
I hope not. But I can see a progression from when I was a kid to now. And just the levels of fear that you're being fed gets greater and greater and greater and greater. I remember as a kid, you would have stranger danger and, the drugs and the things like that. But it's still, you would have fluff pieces on the news. You would have like, oh, this great thing happened today. And, blah, blah, blah. And good things, good things, good things. Bad, 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 bad. But mainly, there was a lot of decent things. What do you see now? Like, I am amazed. I don't listen to the news. I don't watch TV. I don't read newspapers. I keep off of social media as much as I can because you're fed nothing but fear in different senses.
Absolutely. And there's a quote, and I don't even know it's a quote. It's just a truth. Where there's fear, there's control. Right? So we have to wonder and trace back, why is our media and our government and our, even day-to-day, even in social media, why is everything based on fear? And it's because you'll do anything if you're scared enough, right? You'll give up every single right that you have and say, help me, government, help me, society, protect me, hold me.
Neighbors, just hide me.
We're willing to give up so much if we're fearful.
Do you ever hear that saying? I don't know why this popped in my head, but it's like, I can run faster scared than you can mad. Oh,
yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Fear is, and then even speaking of that driving factor, maybe this is taking us a little too far out there, but there are two kinds of people in the world. There are people who are connected to the universe, and it's like we have an umbilical cord that goes to the universe, and we get our energy that way. We say, and that's literally all of you listening to this. It's the majority of people, right? We get this energy from just waking up every day because the universe provides. There are an alternate group of people. There's nothing wrong with them. They're perfectly divinely created, but they don't have their connection to the universe the way that we do. So they pull energy from others. Which is, it's normal. It's a part of life. The energy, I hesitate to call them energy vampires, but that's who they are. And
why hesitate? It's true.
It's true. They're energy vampires. So they have to get their energy off of us, the people that have the cord, or they don't have anything to pull from. And what feeling is the most energetically charged that a human being could ever feel? Fear. So the people that I would arguably say there's a very significant portion of people in the world that pull the strings that are kind of the energy vampires. And they have a very vested interest in keeping us really nervous because it's their life force. And it doesn't make them good, bad, or it doesn't make them anything. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But do you have to be that life force for them? Absolutely not.
No. But it's here's the thing. You can train yourself out of it.
100%.
Because let me tell you, I was raised, and I've talked about this in other podcasts, I have been raised in that fear bubble, right? Ever since I was, probably before I was born, to be honest, but it was it was always worst case scenario. It was always, if you do this, this bad thing will happen to you, and it kept me from doing a lot of different things, right? It did keep me safe to a certain degree, but I mean, with extremes, right? So my whole life has been lived perpetually in fear, which did not help when I got into the job that I did, right? Because it was like, what do I talk to all day? People who are angry, fearful, all of that. So it would just feed me subconsciously without realizing it. So then I had my breakdown, first of all, because that's the thing.
It's not funny, but it's like, I kind of just like chuckle. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
damn, the breakdown.
But you know what, though? Breakdown, breakthrough.
Amen.
So it's needed because, well, I mean, it sucked for 2 years because I thought it was a state of fear before. Try living 2 years with being scared of your shadow, like scared of everything. A noise, you hit the floor. It was just random. But that gives me a whole new perspective, right? Light and dark, the law of polarity.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can come out of that and feel no fear, you guys, even fish, which it's a phobia. Like, it's not even like you're scared of fish. It's like, no, I'm terrified of them. I can look at a picture of them now without immediately like, I'm going to die.
Wow.
I still freak out a little bit, not going to lie. But I've controlled it to the point where it's like, you can look at that. It's not going to hurt you.
Actually, and that is a strong suit that you have, to be honest with you. Like, when I first met Randy, I think we talked about this in the past live podcast, but I could, like, when I meet people, if they're open and if they're giving me permission into their Akashic records, sometimes I just get little glimpses of things that they did. And first things I saw, Randy in captivity, doesn't care. Doesn't fucking give a shit. She's like doodling in the walls of this cave. And I'm like, okay. And then the next one, that one where she's, if you listen to the past lives, she's burned at the stake. There's not a shred of fear. She's cursing people like, fuck you, fuck you. Damn it.
Your ancestral line's fucked. Your ancestral line's fucked.
So really, like, that's something I've actually never seen before. I remember like noting that. I'm like, this bitch it's not scared of much. Like, apparently except for fish.
Apparently.
So random.
Apparently. Not crocodiles, because I'd go, not even in the past life, because I'd go fishing in the swamp at nighttime.
It's bizarre. You always have some trauma with the fish. But yeah,
clearly. Like,
she really can control her fear. So if you're going to take notes from someone, like, this is probably the girl to do it.
But I mean, it is just remembering. Okay, so now we're going to, me and this topic, I tell you, it all comes down to ego. And I've said things like this 1,000,001 times. You're like, oh, fuck, here she goes again with her ego. But it's true, because a large part of our ego are fears, right? And because the ego is, for the most part, self-serving, that's why we buy into all this fear. It gives us some sort of satisfaction on that level, right? To a certain degree, we like being scared because it's comfortable, right? So it's like, oh, yes, I understand this feeling. I don't know what the unknown is. Even if it's like 100 times better, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But I know what this is. So I can stay here and I can be safe and I can be comfortable.
I see that. I don't want to say all the time, but if I work with a client who's had a rigmarole of like freaking shitty, chaotic lives with death and tragedy and highs and lows, like, one of their karmic lessons is that they have to learn to tune out drama, because they'll naturally gravitate to it. It's just safe for them. Like, it's not safe, but it's comfortable. Mm-hmm. They understand it. They've lived it. They know it. And then they've pushed their wound so deep that it's honestly like a distraction mechanism. If I just focus on everyone else's chaos and get involved in it myself, I don't got to look at my own life. And
I don't have to think for myself.
Yes. And it's so hard to get people that have that kind of karma to like refocus. Whenever I see a karmic linear backpack of bullshit that looks like that. I'm like, oh fuck, like you're gonna have to work really hard at this.
Yeah.
So like we think we're hate fear, but some of us find it kind of cozy.
Well, here's the thing too. Let's be honest. 99% of us do find it cozy.
Mm-hmm.
We don't realize that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And if some of you are sitting there going, bitch, that ain't true. It's probably your ego talking, actually.
Yeah.
So
no, even like just the simplest little things. Like we had planned to record this podcast today at 4:00, and I was not even close to being done at 4:00. And I was immediately like, Randy's gonna think I'm wasting her time. I'm late. I'm this, and I'm causing these creating these chaoses in my mind. And it's like, it was fear based. Like I don't want Randy to think I'm wasting her time. But then I was like, okay, are you really gonna let the smallest thing that you didn't have control over in that moment like ruin your whole day?
Exactly.
Fuck. Yeah, it's
ridiculous. And meanwhile, I'm like, oh, thank Christ she's running late, because so am I. Oh.
See, exactly. Like, we're so conditioned. It's honestly sick. Like,
yeah, we're conditioned, and it is what it is, guys. Like, we like fear. I know there's some people who like really like fear, and they like to, do thrill rides and, watch scary movies, and, it's funny. I don't like to be scared. I don't like that feeling. I don't enjoy the endorphins from it. I mean, I understand to a certain level why people would. I am not one of those people. And yet, almost 40 years of my life was completely fear-based.
Yeah. In that constant state. I remember being young, and I don't know if I've said this before in the podcast. I feel like I'm pretty am I bubbly? I'm a little bit bubbly.
I don't know if bubbly is the right word.
The word.
Energetic.
Okay, yeah. I'm really like zesty. I don't know what the word is. And I feel like I don't come off as someone who would like the creepy crawlies of things, but I do. I love dark poetry like Sylvia Plath and Edgar Allan Poe and like dark imagery and it just I just love it.
It speaks to my witchy heart.
Yeah, it's so captivating to me. And I don't think I come across as someone who would like that. And I used to love scary movies, love them. And then
It's so funny.
I made the mistake of watching The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and I was fucking done. Haven't watched a scary movie since. And I probably, I was so young. I was
oh, you would have been. Because I was in my 20s when that came out.
Yeah, I had to have been a young teen, 14 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember watching it, and I was like, and when you're 14, right? You don't really believe in that stuff, but there was something about that. Well, of course you would have. It triggered a memory in me, and I was like, fuck, this shit is real. I am done. I'm never watching this stuff again. And I literally haven't watched a scary movie since.
That's so funny. Of all the ones, and that wasn't even a scary movie, because a lot of it was courtroom drama.
Yeah. And I think
I saw that in the theater, believe it or not.
Wow. Actually, I saw it in the theater too, I think, and that's maybe why I was done. Yeah. I was just because I think there was that element. It was supposed to be based on a true story, and they threw the courtroom drama in there, and I was like, oh shit. And then I was like, I don't know, I dare not say it, but I was too young. I hadn't seen The Exorcist?
I've never seen it.
Oh, okay. Well, I hadn't seen that, and I don't think I would have liked that, but I seen glimpses of it later, but I'd already laid my horror movies to rest. I was like, fuck that. I like dark shit, but that's too dark.
Yeah, I don't do it.
I don't like possession ones. Now I can handle it. Now I understand what it is, and it's just fear tactics to get energy. They're nothing's really evil or good. They're just using specific tactics. You don't want to mess with the people using fear tactics. They don't have a lot of feelings.
No, I mean there are attachments.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's be honest.
They're attachments.
Because I have cleared out many.
They're attachments, but I don't see them as good or evil anymore. They use fear. They prey upon what we think is scary and give it to us because they want that vibe from us.
Yeah. I call them the lurkers.
Yeah.
So if you've ever gotten a treatment from me and I talk about the lurkers, that's what I'm talking about. The little entities that attach to your aura, essentially. And they're just bottom feeders, essentially.
Yeah.
There's different kinds.
Fucking give them a bunch of light and be like, you can't have anything from me. And then you just shut her down. Don't even think about it. Shut it down. They can't get what they want. They'll peace out.
Shut up. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But I mean, here's the thing. So many of us have them without realizing them because we don't realize we're living in fear.
Yep. I remember the first time I ever came to see you before we were connected, you were like, there's a bunch of spiders and shit coming out of your brain. And I was like, ugh. It's cool. whatever, it was cool. I felt way lighter after that. I remember like, I can breathe again. And you're like, oh yeah, it's because you had a bunch of shit in there too.
Yeah.
Like, well, and it's because anytime we have fear, we attract those little bottom feeders. It doesn't matter. It's not really important. We all have them.
Exactly.
But the less you give into fear, the more light you bring into your body, the less people can attach to you.
Yeah. I mean, you guys, other than the mild inconveniences.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of other sub stuff that we're not going to go into. Realistically, I have not noticed the fear of this pandemic.
Not a chance.
It's like, and I don't mean to say, I don't want to come across as like egotistical or anything like that, or like I'm above anybody, but literally it's like, it doesn't touch me.
Mm-hmm.
The fear isn't there.
No.
Right?
I agree.
It's
but
I
had heard about this coming for a really long time. So when it showed up, I was like, oh, here it comes. So I was really like mentally prepared for it. And I knew that fear was the thing that would pull it into your world.
And fear is the thing, you guys. Fear is what separates us all the most.
Oh, God. And the more you can divide us, the more you can conquer us, you know? And you can see it easily anywhere you look. There's always people that should be united against, you know, the powers that be. But if they pit us against each other, they win. We'll just be busy fighting. So it's like, you know, class, you know, we're always mad at the lower class, and the upper class is ignoring the middle class, and, you know, different ethnic backgrounds and different cultural groups are always fighting each other. And it's like very intentional.
Different political opinions.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
Ugh. Even like when you're in high school and which Backstreet Boy was better.
Oh, God, yeah. And I think human beings, like, is maybe they kind of, I don't want to say we're not even competitive. We get bored easily and we turn things into competitive sports. But by nature, I think we're highly conditioned to be competitive with, you know, even like women. Like, I would just say it because we're women. I'm sure men have their own kind of competitions, of course. Like, who's stronger, who's faster, who can drink more. And like women, it's like,
who provides better.
Yeah. And then with women, it's like, I just know because I'm a woman right now. But like, it's like, you know, you see someone who's just doing their best ever, and you're instantly like, I'm fucking happy for that person. And suddenly like, wait a minute, I think I'm fucking jealous of that person. You're like, nope, you stuff that down. And it's like, we're meant to like compete.
I hope that bitch gets fat.
Seriously. I have an old friend that that's what we used to gossip about, anyone who gained weight. And that's why we're not friends anymore. Anyway, brutal. But like, we're just like conditioned to do these things because if we're busy fighting the people that need to be our allies, we will ignore the real problems. And it separates us. And when we're separate, we're easy to conquer.
The more separated we are, the more distracted we are.
100%.
And it's all about, you guys, what I'm sure this is not a foreign concept to anyone by any stretch, but fear is control.
Yep.
Whoever gets you scared wins. And it's an ongoing thing. I saw it a lot in my old job. I lived it my whole life, you know, but it's also what you give your most attention to.
And even think to your day-to-day, you know, activities. How many times are you making choices out of fear?
Lots.
Oh, even just like, you know, we had to like take a little break, and we were talking about some of like the stones or the, you know, the jewelry that we had bought like for protection or whatever. And there's always this element of like guilt, you know, like, oh, I shouldn't have bought that. I could have, like, what would you have done with the money instead? Just let it sit in your account and spend it on like a coffee? Like, it's,
or put it on bills. Cause you know, if I don't pay my bills,
right?
Then I die.
And like, honestly,
I'm not telling you not to pay your bills. Whoops.
Yeah. I've had every different income level known to man. I have been a broke bitch. I have had abundance, sort of. It always disappears. And then like, I've been every different background, and every fucking time I've been able to pay my bills. And it just shows you that it's all an illusion.
Yeah.
Your bills somehow always get paid regardless of how much money you do or don't have.
Yes.
And it's like, you can't treat yourself to a necklace or like a crystal or whatever. And it's like, you know, Every time you look at that Amazon cart and you're like, oh, I shouldn't. That's a fear-based attempt. And I'm not saying go buy a BMW because everything's going to work out. There's an element of like responsibility or like authenticity that needs to be behind what you're looking into.
Exactly. Like if you have a cart full of stuff because it's trendy and cool and everyone else is doing it, that's not going to work in your favor.
No.
But if you have, it's like, oh my God, I just did an Amazon haul just the other day and I splurged. And there will be a video eventually on my YouTube channel, just so you know, of my mini haul of my decks. Custom Card Slinger on YouTube. But these have been in my cart for literally months, almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why? I'm just going to get them. I can always sell them if they don't resonate with me.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
For sure.
And I was like, energy exchange, easy come, easy go.
Yeah. And even think about what you're saying to the universe. We talk about manifesting all the time. What you think about is what you're going to bring about. And I want to just clarify, there's a lot more to manifesting than just thinking about something really hard.
Oh, big time.
But, you know, what are you saying to the universe when you deny yourself simple pleasures like that? Like I really been eyeballing this deck or this crystal or this necklace, and it really just like makes me feel like I be myself. I love it. I'm called to it. And then you say, no, I can't afford that. Yeah, amen. You're never going to afford it and you're never going to feel worthy of it. You're perpetuating this cycle. So making decisions out of fear is going to get you absolutely nowhere. And we think about manifesting like once we actually focus on manifesting, that's what will manifest. No, you're manifesting every day, all day with every choice you do or don't make. So being more conscious of it and trying to tune out the fear-based responses and tapping into those authentic responses is like the goal here.
Because you guys, when we're living in fear, what are we manifesting more of? Fear. Like, there's my like again. Whoops, sorry. I'm trying not to do that as much because it bothers me. But I mean, we were told this pandemic would last, a few months?
2 weeks lockdown was supposed to be.
Yeah. And here we are a year later. You tell me that's not fear feeding that manifestation.
Oh, for sure.
So think about that, you guys. Take a break. Take a break from social media after you subscribe to our new pages.
Yeah, exactly.
Take a break from listening to the radio. Take a break from, reading the news, whatever it is. And kind of get out of that fear-based mentality for a little bit and just see on and it'll be a most minute level to start, the shifts and the changes that begin to happen and even the little manifestations.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
It honestly is. If you want to focus on doubt and fear and impossibilities and struggle, you are calling that shit right back into your life, and you will have more things to doubt, to fear, to struggle through. You're calling it in every time you choose to focus on that versus your happiness. And I have a colleague, and he said, you can choose to be like in a place where you're familiar with, or you can choose like happiness just because you don't understand what that happiness is going to look like right now. Like, do you really want to just sit in your puddle and like drown in your petri dish, or do you want to like see what happens? Because it just works. Like, I started this whole journey as I don't want to say a skeptic, because I wasn't skeptical, but I wasn't going to convict anything and be like, this is true or this isn't, until I had like proof. I needed to know for sure if I was going to back something up, if it had rhyme or reason. So I'm not just talking out my ass here. Like, I've seen it happen. I was in lack mentality. I was in struggle mentality. I was in denying myself simple pleasures, thinking everybody in the world deserved more than me and giving it all away. And then one day, like, I just flipped, and my whole world almost instantly flipped with it.
So true. If I had given into fear, I would not be at all where I am today. I would still be miserable. I would probably still be really suffering with my anxiety and PTSD, like 100%. And it took a lot to tune it out, because it wasn't just my fear. I had to tune out the fear of my family, of my spouse, of my friends, like, what do you know, I just think when I quit my job and they're like, but you have nothing to fall back on. That's what I was told. You have nothing. Well, you better get a second job or find something else. What are you going to do? And had I given into that, I probably would be working multiple jobs, trying to scrape by, trying to make my bills, barely making it. You know what I mean? I would have been miserable doing it with no time to myself.
100%. I wouldn't be where I am either.
No, I stood up, and that was the hardest thing. Standing up to your parents sometimes. I mean, this was still back in October. My dad was like, you people are looking right now. Get a job. Get a second job. You're not going to make it doing just what you're doing. Okay, whatever you say. Didn't get one. Here I am, totally fine. 6 months later.
100%. Like, we have to conquer that fear if you want to go and level into that new space. And it doesn't matter what you're trying to manifest. Do you want to be self-employed? Do you want to get that big house? Do you want the raise? Do you want the dream job? Do you want the dream partnership? Like, what do you really want? And you have to push through that threshold of fear, because that's, like, it's such a cliche, but growth happens when you're uncomfortable. If you do what you've always done, you'll be exactly where you've always been.
It's
and
true.
Are you happy? Are you content with that? Even just as self-employed people, like Randy and I, obviously we're always looking for a way to, like, make our lives a little bit easier or continue to have a little bit more comfortable standpoint, because it still gets nerve-wracking. Like, being self-employed can be real scary, so it's like we're always looking for that next level. But to get to the next level of being self-employed, you can't wait for people to come with pockets of money and say, here you go, cha-ching, you've leveled up. We have to level up, and it's fucking scary to be like, I'm raising my prices, or I'm offering this new random service that I've just made up, which is what I've done. Not talking shit. I did that. But it's actually one of my favorite sessions. So stay tuned. I'll launch that soon.
Yay.
But, like, you have to get uncomfortable to get into that growth state. And all you have to do is push through that fear for it's like a small window of time. Is it a brutal window of time? 100%. Never going to say it was like coasting. But I tell my clients all the time, if they do a manifestation session, human beings are inherently lazy, and it's not something that it's just we are. We want the easy, fast route. We like routine. We like predictability. So, like, you can't grow there, and you have to get that uncomfortable spot to even realize the worth of it. If you just snapped your fingers and $1 million fell in front of you, you would say, what about 2 million? That was too easy. We like the challenge. And if we get something too easy, we're not even interested in celebrating it. It was too easy. So when that fear base comes in, you have to think of it, is it actually a fear that I have to uncondition, or is it me seeing the value in my own work by pushing through it?
It's false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. If you dealing with my clients, I'm like, what are you scared of? And a lot of people will say, like 99% of people say, I'm scared of failure. And when we dive in and dig deep, it's not a fear of failure. It's a fear of success. That's why you're not going anywhere.
Oh, yeah. I always tell people, like, they're running away from that Cinderella moment. It's not familiar. You're standing at the ball and everyone has their eyes on you. And you're just like, I'm a fucking imposter. And you want to run back to your shitty pumpkin and your mice, and you get safe, It's so true. We do that all the time. I'm doing that right now. I'm trying to launch some things, and I just have the worst block. I'm like, oh shit. And my guides have adamantly been like, this is going to be something, calling me out on getting stuck and, like, not wanting to step in. I'm doing it. Like, it's like we give this advice all day, and I take it, but it's not always easy. And yeah, like, I'm nervous, right? I'm scared of my Cinderella.
But here's the other thing. I'm going to shrink you for a minute.
Yeah.
Are you really nervous and worried, or are you excited? Because they feel the same.
That's true. Yeah, I am excited, but I don't know why I can't make it happen faster. Tomorrow's the day. I'm going to get to work.
Me too. I've been grinding things out, like, left, right, and center. It's just taking me longer than I thought it would. But I can't bitch because it's actually because I'm getting busier.
That's good news.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like, well, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah.
Right? Because now I'm like, what if I don't have enough time and it won't launch when I think I wanted to?
Divine timing.
Oh, well.
Divine timing.
It's not a big deal.
And like, trust the timing too. Like, even like, I don't want to say like make excuses and let the divine timing, because then you'll end up with situations like Randy's obviously had a harder situation where she was thrown out of her job. You know, like you probably had windows to exit but didn't. But eventually you'll get booted out. But why don't you choose something a little bit earlier? And I was the same thing. Like, I'm a pretty like strong-minded person, and I was crying at work. I was yelling at work. I had like, and it was a place that people don't yell, you know, and I wasn't having a good time, and no one liked me. It wasn't really that good. But, you know, it's like, if you don't choose it, you'll be thrown out. So like, give yourself some credit, but like, just conquer the fear now. Don't wait for everything to fall apart. Don't wait for those days where you're having nervous breakdowns at work and freaking miserable. And because that kind of like low vibrational energy is gonna just, you know, you don't feel confident if you're crying at work. You don't feel confident if everyone's ridiculing your choices. You don't feel confident if people don't like you. And it's not really the precipice to launch into your journey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, just recognize the fear now and make the conscious choices before you end up in the mess that I was in or Randy was in.
Oh, God. Fuck me. So what you do is, you guys, I mean, we could literally talk about this for hours, days, weeks, months, probably, but we're not going to do that. So the trick is, how am I going to put this? You have to recognize on the daily, start small, baby steps. Anytime you do anything, why am I doing it? Why am I doing it? Because I've talked to many people, or I'll make a casual comment, and they'll say to me, it's not fear, it's XYZ. No, what's under XYZ? Because there is a driving factor to everything we do, and fear is a big one. And it underlies more than you think that it does, you guys. So be very aware. Ask yourself, and beware your ego, because your ego will be like, it's not fear, it's this. Whenever you feel a very strong aversion to something, like a very strong trigger, like, you're wrong, usually means it's probably a little bit right. So start to see and really try and kind of maybe track your triggers. Why would I get so upset at that? Underlier. What is it? Why? What is it? What's driving you? The whole pandemic, what is the underlying fear here? We're going to die. Like, that is a fundamental fear. But really, logically, if you stop and thought about it, what would that actually mean? Are you scared of dying itself? Are you scared of the pain that might come before the death? Because there's really not a reason to fear death other than we've been kind of conditioned to. Because knowing what you know now about energy, it can't be changed, it can't be recreated, it can't be, you know. So energy goes on forever. Just because the body dies, you're still energy, you're still matter, you're still there. So we've consciously gone, oh, I have a fear of death because I end up not existing, which, if we stop and logically think about it, isn't true. You know, even people with concepts of heaven, hell, you know, whatever, you're still going and move. Like, just the body dies.
Yeah.
Right? You just change form. So logically, there's no fear of death. So why do we let that drive us so hard?
Yeah. And even when you look at the numbers, statistically speaking, it ain't going to happen to you anyway. But like, yeah, we have such a fundamental fear of death. And it all, like, if you can almost pinpoint so much to that one fear that's so unwarranted, right? Like, I'm not like suicidal by any means, but it's like, I honestly am kind of looking forward to that day like remembering who I really am, remembering all my lessons, remembering my soul fam, remembering the truth. Like, I can't wait for the day where I exit this vessel and I get to get welcomed into my portal and be like, my fucking family, my old pets. Like, that's going to be a great day. And if you ever heard of anyone who's had a near-death experience, like, they didn't want to come back.
No.
As soon as they were getting sent back to their body, they were like, fuck!
No, I want to stay. You know? So, yeah, there's really nothing to be scared of. But that is a core fear of a lot of people. And if you have that core fear, it's not a bad thing. So what are the two lowest vibrations? Fear and shame. And so, but look around at the world right now. What is being fed to you? Fear and shame. Shame on you for not thinking this way. Shame on you for not doing it this way. Shame on you for this. Shame on you for that. And people are at each other's throats. Complete strangers. I've experienced it. My husband has experienced it. And within our own family. Like, just at each other's throats over nothing.
Yeah.
Why? Why are you shaming that person? What is driving that? Well, fear. Fear of what? Fear of death. Why, though? False evidence appearing real. There's nothing to be scared of. And if it is a legit, like somebody's coming at you with a knife, what do you do in those circumstances? If it's not false evidence, right? It's real evidence at this point. Someone's coming at you with a knife. Fight ego and rise. So those are your two meanings of what fear really is. False evidence appearing real. And if it becomes real, you fight your ego and you rise.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
And like, speaking of why are you being fed these things? We're fed fear and shame on a constant loop basis. The pandemic's just a really great thing to branch it off of. But why?
There's so many different ways, but the pandemic is, well, it's happening right now. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. And like, why is that something? Why is the media? Why is the government? Why are political parties? Why are literally, like, why are we being fed low vibrational energies constantly? Like, you do the math. You know, and we're seeing the rise of spirituality, right? And that's a fucking threat to the people that want to keep us in low density vibrations. And
like, there has been a major awakening since the pandemic hit.
Major.
Like, people that I never, ever in my life would have thought like, I've always been kind of weird and off, and this is not that big of a surprise.
No.
But there's people that I'm like, damn, yeah, you post that shit or whatever it is. Because I'm like, never would have thought in a million years, but you get it.
100%. There's been a massive awakening, and it's really threatening. It's threatening to the status quo and the people who have been rocking life this whole time we were fighting each other. So pay attention. What's the purpose of this? And what side of the fence do you want to be on? We're not telling you that there's like a right or wrong way to be, because there isn't.
There isn't.
But how does it feel to actually live in fear and shame? It doesn't feel so hot. There's nervousness, there's sleeplessness, there's tension. Should I be doing this? Did I do this? Is my mask the proper? Is it this?
There's anger, there's confusion, there's frustration, there's just constant chaos. I gotta say, since I can't say I have much fear. It might peek in, but I immediately can quell it pretty quick. It's been smooth sailing. Mm-hmm. I think this past year has been the easiest one of my life, essentially.
Yeah.
And I've gone through a career change, pretty severe one. Pretty big. And, you know, no income, all the things. And yet, smooth sailing, baby. Easiest one of my life.
Yeah, wow. So true. I still, I feel like I'm doing, deep healing. So my emotions maybe haven't been doing so hot, but, the stability of my life, I have done, I still give in, it pops up every once in a while, but like Randy says, I don't give into it, and, everything takes care of itself. I remember how hard it was to live in lack mentality, to live in fear-based mentality, to live in, am I keeping up, and do I measure up, and am I this? Every fucking day of that story was hard. And now it's you just own it, and you're just no, I'm not giving into that. And it's seriously, the universe starts working with you because you're calling in love and faith and trust. And then that's what you manifest. More love, more faith, more trust.
Which are the highest vibrations.
Yeah.
I used to worry about money. Oh my God.
Oh, same.
And I made a lot. Like, I think of what I used to make and I'm like, how did I ever have money worries? Really? Like, how did I end up like that? And now I should be worried about money probably. But I don't. It's not there. I have full trust. It's just going to be there when I need it. And yep, sure as shit, there it is.
Yep. Honestly, I like same. It just takes care of itself. Like before, I remember people would be like, "Oh, you want to grab dinner?" And I'd like check my bank account to see what's in there. Now I'm just like, it's going to be in there. Like, I don't even worry about it. And, even just like once you realize, because one of the things about fear is like, we're afraid to even test the waters in the other dimension, like the other higher vibrational stuff, because we're so nervous. And it's like, just dip your toe in, because it like almost instantly spins around for you. And then it's like, suddenly you're like, you start trusting your manifestations. You start trusting yourself. Like now, if I have a lull in a week where I'm not booking as many clients as I hoped, I just put it out there. I'm like, universe, like, let's throw down. I need like 4 or 5 extra people this week or whatever it is. And it's like within seconds, someone's booked. You got a new booking. I'm like, fucking right. It's like, that's awesome. Like, we're in control here, regardless of what anyone or society or, politics or, your family even tells you. You're in the driver's seat and you always have been. And the sooner you reclaim your personal power, the better for everybody.
Amen. Well said.
Thank you.
So now that we've given you a baseline and made you think, hopefully, about fear, what is it? How does it run our lives? And you know what? Just to caveat that, the most important part is, how do we let it run our lives? We have to take personal responsibility here. When we're talking about reclaiming personal power, you also have to reclaim, or not even reclaim, just claim, hey, I'm letting this happen. I don't need to, right?
And recognizing that you create more fear every fucking time you give into it. Like, you welcome more of it into your life every time. So it's not here to, like, what fear is. It's not like we're here to define it. We're here to just get you to think, like Randy said, like, just to tweak your perspectives, because it's a game changer when you stop giving into that.
Totally. And I'm sure I could probably go into this even more.
Yeah. So let us know if you want episode number 2.
Yeah, we can do episode number 2. Let us know your specific fear questions if you're wanting to. But I don't know about you. Like, maybe something to think about in the future, and you guys can let us know what you think about this too, is I find that a lot of people come and ask, what should I do? What should essentially, it's almost like you could interpret it, not that I do that way, because I understand they're just frustrated. But I mean, you could interpret it that as, tell me what to say, tell me what to do, tell me what to be. And someone who isn't from a good place will do that for you. Right? Don't let yourself be manipulated that way, you guys. You don't need to. You're smart. You're funny. You're amazing. And we love you because you're here. Woo. And we vibe. But I know you guys can rise above. Come meet us up here. Let us know. Do you guys fear a lot? What's your biggest fear? What's your phobia?
Yes.
And let's crack that bitch.
Yeah.
If I can, here's the thing, you guys. If we can do this, oh Lord, so can you.
Yeah, honestly, I can't even tell you how, like, normal, if there were such a thing, my background is. Like, honestly, you're
the OG normie.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, if we can do it, there's absolutely nothing that's stopping you from conquering that fear and, like, living in your authentic self. And your authentic self, as Randy said, that's up to you to decide what that is. No one's going to tell you. And nobody should tell you, to be honest. Like, we can read into some, like, I can read into, like, your soul design, but that has nothing to do with what you're going to do with it.
I can help you find it.
Yeah.
Right? I can help you find where that authenticity lies, but you got to do the work. So it's fun. All right, you guys. So kind of an interesting one to end off with.
Yeah. Totally.
But yeah, this was our last solstice star. podcast. And we will be launching next week with the Sassy Spiritual Bitches podcast, which I'm so excited for.
Yeah, me too. We got some cool ideas.
We got some stuff.
You guys will want to check it out.
Hands up on our current Facebook page, which will be changing. We will put the link all over places. But let us know. Do you like that title? What do you want us to talk about? What do you want from us? Because
tell us what's going on in your life so that we know like where your interests lie too.
Yeah. What do you like? Is there specific? Do you want us to do a specific topic? Do you want us to talk a couple different things? Do you just want us to story time? Do you just want us to drink and tell ghost stories? I'm good with that.
Yeah. I'm open to all the wine podcasts.
All the stuffs.
Yeah.
We should have called ourselves the Witchy Wine. The Witchy Winers.
Oh, shit. That's good.
That's funny. Not spons. But anyway. We're going to leave it here. We're going to have lots of fun, lots of laughs going forward here. Not that you don't have it already. I mean, we do. Hopefully you do too. So we will see you next week on the SSB. Bye.
Bye.